What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer and this is the Tokyo Marui Saiga 12K gas blowback shotgun. Their first ever tri-shot magazine fed gas blowback shotgun ever to grace the market. And oh my god, did they nail it with style. This is probably going to be 2023's most meme gun, or at least the one gun that people in CQB sites are going to fear the most. But with that being said, put your little devil horns on and let's jump on in. Okay, so after a long wait, this gun finally got released approximately a month ago, and oh my god, I have just been so excited with this gun ever since I saw the pictures in 2020. It's been looking absolutely like the ultimate meme gun, and a debate has already started back then of whether sites were going to ban it or what it was like. And I think everyone did the right thing, wait until it gets released. And now, years later, it's finally in our hands. So, let's do what we always do, start at the rear. Before we do, I'm going to remove the magazine, we'll talk about that in a bit. And let's get to the stock. Okay, so at the stock, as you can see, this is a standard AK stock. It's quite nice. It's a folding stock, so you've got your release button here, quite simply folds over and locks into place on that side so it will not move. You have your release button right there, so press that and it'll swing back around. Now, as you can see, you have your scallop section right there. That's just so it can clear the rail, but if you've got the rail mounted on there, you can't fold the stock. At the rear, you can see here, you have your trapdoor. You can sort of open it with the button. That trapdoor there on the real steel is for your oil bottle. You can use it for whatever in this. You have your sling point here, which is nice and loose on this side. So it's quite fine. Now this being a Tokyo Marui, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to remove this stock and put something on there. I've already seen a few other style of stocks out there, so that'd be kind of cool. Moving forward, you have your grip. Now, according to Tokyo Marui, both when they initially announced this back in 2020 and to now, their main statement is they basically secured the files to the actual real pistol grip and built it from the ground up, one-to-one to the real steel, including the quality of the plastic, etc. Whether this is true or not, I'll leave it for you AK aficionados to debate that in the comments. You can replace this though, as it is one-to-one, with any of your other AK style grips, so it's entirely up to you. The trigger, on the other hand, is pretty much a lovely trigger. You've got about 2 mils of take up. There's your wall. 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, 4 mil, and it breaks. So pretty much a standard out the box trigger for an AK, which is perfectly fine. There is no issues there. You have a lovely large trigger guard there, which is removable. A few hex screws there if you wish for the winter. But yeah, this is a lovely trigger guard. You can put your winter gloves on anyway, so you're not going to really need it. It keeps dirt and debris out the trigger if you're outdoors a lot. You have your paddle release there for your magazine. Now, just above the mag is your rail. It's standard AK-74 rail mount on there, so you can easily fit any of your proprietary Russian rail systems on there for the AK-74, and it'll fit this no problem. Now, one thing I have noticed is this is full of the entire markings. So just like the real steel, this does feature all the correct markings. You have your manufacturer's mark here. This is the building where it was manufactured, or the company in Russia. And you have all your other different proof marks that it needs to go, and the name Saiga 12 in Russian. Your serial number is right there on the bulge there, which is quite nice. And it's basically, all in all, a lovely looking gun with markings. It does have the complete set. Moving up to the handguard, yes, it's nylon polymer, same as the stock, but this is perfectly fine. There is no play or wobble in the entire gun. It's really well built to high specific tolerances. You can remove this. There are one screw here at the bottom. Take that out, slide the handguard off, and you can now put any of your quad rail systems or upgraded handguards that you wish to put on there. They will fit. The front sight here at the front is a nice copper golden color bead. You have this adjustable dial here. This is for your elevation. You put a little pin through there that comes in the box, or you could use any, like a tip of a bullet, and probably just start to lift it. But generally just a little pin through, and you adjust it for height. That's it. No windage. This is a shotgun. Your sights, as you can see, if I can get this in, let's have a look here, is basically, there's your rear sight. It's just two little posts either side. You line it up with your front bead. One good thing I'll tell you is out the box, this was shooting pretty much straight on. It was flying true as an arrow, and they really do work. It's kind of fun. Your barrel is nice and long, giving you a nice length, but not too long. This being the K variant, it is the shorter of the barrels out of the real steel. This is also threaded. So, take that off. You got two sets of threads there, sort of like those there, and there's these like very soft bits here, which will just look like they're for show. But yes, you have your threads. I believe the shotgun from, or what is it, the M870 shotgun tracer unit will fit. If not, I'd be very surprised. But generally, I know that Acertech are working on a dedicated one for the Saiga with a bit of Russian flair on it. So, be something to look forward to there. Now, inside is the same barrel system as the M870. That's something I'll go into when we strip this thing down with fixed hop. So, let's flip this over. And as you can see, everything is kind of nicely mirrored with the correct markings where it needs to be. 12 by 76, which is 12 gauge, 18 by 3, and you've got all your other markings both on the bolt, your safe, and fire. When it's in safe, the trigger is locked. The bolt will travel at about 1 centimeter or so and won't go any further. Switch it into fire, and it go boom. You have your Tokyo Marui mandatory markings there for Japan. That's just been nicely put out the way, which is quite nice. And that's your, I would say, back end of the release button for the stock, which is kind of cool. Now, let's take a look at the magazine, shall we? If I put you nicely down. Let's have a look. You know what, I won't even bother trying to stand this thing. Right. Magazines. These obviously are based off the 5-round shotgun shell magazines, but they hold 45 BBs. They are very easy to feed. You have your little ball follower here. Just push that in, feed 45 BBs in. When you're done and it gets to the end, that'll pop back up. Now, basically, like I say, that's quite a nice little system. You have your dry fire mode here. Just push that up. That lowers the bar out of the way, allows the firing pin to keep hitting the mag and cycling the gun, even though there's no BBs in it. But if that's in its rearward position, well, that's when it all gets to fun, as they say, and you can continue to fire all day, I should say long, until you run out and it go click, no boom. Now, if we push the indentation in there and we pull up on the internal bit, we should be able to. Oh, still mute, and there we go. We can pull out the internals and you can see how it actually works. So you can see the different mechanisms there, which is kind of cool. Now here is your thermometer. It tells you what the temperature of the magazine is. It's currently in between 20 and 25, which is great. That's your ideal operating temperature for this magazine, by the way, if you're using Neutral 1 or 134A or 144A style gas. If you're like me and you use green gas, which you can do, I would highly recommend that you don't for the first 500 rounds. Just run it on Neutral 1, then dump in, Neutral 2 after that. And you'll find that the gun will run a lot more reliably that way. And you don't put too much stress on the system. It allows it to work its way in quite nicely. To put it back, just slide it in and it locks itself in. The only rattle is the follower there, but there is no other rattle. Your fill valve is nice and neatly positioned here at the bottom. So if you ever do crack your polymer case, there are spare ones available. So, The magazine aside, that is absolutely awesome. Why don't we take this out, do a chronograph, let's see what she's like. Okay, I'm using 0.2 gram BBs and green gas. Okay, so that should give us a average of 319 FPS with 0.2 gram BBs. Very good. Okay, let's push it back to about 10 meters, the maximum I would want to use a shotgun for CQB anyway. Let's see what the spread's like. I don't think there's that much of a spread. That is amazing. Obviously the spread will open up. The more you shoot it, the more rounds put down range. But out of the box, my God, I would not like to be hit by that. Okay, let's try the Texas Star. Let's see how many it takes to clear that, knowing that this is very accurate. Nailed it. Okay, so now that we've done the chronograph and accuracy test, it's bloody accurate, isn't it? It really is unbelievable what this thing can do. Even though it has fixed hop, the hop being new means that, you know, 0.225 BBs are just going to fly as straight as they can. The spread is going to be minimal, no more than 6 inches with 0.2s at 10 meters. And 2.5s, you're looking about 2-inch group tops. It's really nice and accurate. But obviously, as those hops wear in, that spread's just going to go wildly bigger at that sort of range. So yeah, the more rounds you put through, the wider the spread it's going to get. So it's just something to bear in mind. Yeah, FPS-wise is perfectly fine, CQB safe, so sites don't have to ban this for any of that reason. It's just going to be a meme that you can keep pulling that trigger. You can actually do something more. So that's kind of been cool. So before we break this apart, which I know you're all dying to see how this thing works, let's have a quick little break and jump back in. ADD break. Okay, so let's take this thing apart. To do that, we'll take the magazine out. No BBs there. Okay, turn it over. Check the chamber. No BBs in the chamber. Okay, so just like any normal AK, push this little button in, push the other one in and lift up. We can take the top cover off. We can then take our recoil rod and springs off. And then we can pull back on our charging handle and take out the bolt. Now, internally, this is identical to the AKM sort of stuff, just on a slightly different receiver model, you could say, a little bit, I would say, bigger for a shotgun, I guess, or set up in that way. But generally, from here, that's your AK trigger pack, pretty much the same. But as you can see, that is your BB loading ramp. In there are 3 little barrels. It's like a Y-shaped structure that'll feed them into the 3 independent barrels with their own fixed hops. It's spring loaded for a reason, because if I flip that up underneath, as the nozzle comes home, and pushes that forward, it goes into there, pushing the BBs into the barrel, and then ready to create a seal and launch. Okay, it's quite a unique system. How they got this to work is basically TM magic. Let's put it down to that. There is no loading arm. So basically what happens is, as the actual gun cycles, the bolt will basically push down on here, releasing 3 BBs up into the air. They will pop up as the gun goes back and then goes home and pushes them in. Like I say, there really is no loading arm. As you can see here on the bolt itself and the bolt nozzle, no loading arm, just one big ass nozzle there of 1 centimeter in diameter. It's huge. And again, it needs to be that to actually blow basically down 3 barrels. So that's kind of cool. It's on its own recoil guide rod there, just inside the actual bolt carrier housing. This weighs about 600 grams. It's heavy as hell. And you feel it in your shoulder, that's for sure. Now, they did recreate the scallop cutout so that as a shotgun shell is ejected, it can clear the actual gas rod and that, piston rod, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, which has been fully replicated here. The recoil and guide rod is a multi-part, so spring 1 is not captive, and the dust cover is not captive either, but that part is. This is steel and fits perfectly fine, and you have a nice steel spring here. The buffer spring is very much the MP7 buffer spring, so the same thing that's in the MP7 on the back plate is basically in this, providing that nice little bit of recoil. It's easily replaced. It's only held in there with a cross screw or Phillips screw, so you can just undo that, take this out and replace it as it wears in after thousands and thousands of rounds. Now, reassembly is quite simple. You just put that back on there and stick the rod there. Now, like I say, the top cover is just one whole bent sheet of metal, which is quite nice. There is no screws, unlike the AKX, which is a multi-part because of all the unique locking and securing feature. This one is just standard sheet metal AK top cover, which is quite fine. Now, like I say, everything in here is basically standard AKM for the trigger pack. It won't fire until that little C is down, then that'll go forward, which is fine. But yeah, so basically, as you have a semi-auto fire selector arm in there, it's just safe and semi. Or is it? So if I put my bolt and carrier back in, just line it up, drop it in, slide that home. Now, this is where it gets difficult, trying to do things one-handed, but yes, we can slide you in, turn you. Okay, so we can now put that in, right? So we can now have the top, the system back together. You can see it works perfectly fine. Now if I get my magazine, put that in there, and we can do a test function test. Okay, oh no, let's put it onto dry fire mode. It is now. So it should. That fires quite nice, right? So if I just move there. Yeah, semi-auto only, right? That's what they said on the box. I'll leave that up to you guys. But yes, everything goes back together just like a standard AK. And as you can see, mine has I have the side mount for mine with a nice little RMR. I hate the Russian side of things. Why they didn't just go Picatinny, I'll never know. Because nothing ever fits on there properly. But yeah, if I make sure everything is correctly lined up, which it should be. There you go. That's on. But it looks the beast anyway, that's for sure. It really does look the part. So, what do you guys think to the Saiga 12? I absolutely love it. I like the fact that this is a shotgun. It fires 3 BBs every time you pull the trigger. And if you know the truth, it can go a lot quick. But yes, basically, this is an amazing piece of kit. It will become the internet meme for airsoft, especially when it comes down to, you know, just people complaining about being shot, because this is just ridiculously accurate and ridiculously overpowered. But it is an amazing piece of kit. You get a lovely, satisfying recoil at the shoulder. You get the nice, you know, how to say, operation manual of arms correct. And the fact that you can have 15 trigger pulls instead of 10. And there's no pump action, so you can get them on target very, very quickly in semi-auto, no problem. Upgradability, there's loads of upgradability to this. There's lots of either real steel or even now airsoft parts starting to come out for this amazing piece of kit. So it's something that I would highly recommend. If you've been looking for a gas blowback shotgun and you don't want to go down the M870 tactical or the clones of the Benelli, which, unless you get the shell ejecting one, which again, that's just like 1 BB usually, and then it ejects the shell. You know, which again, you're walking around collecting shotgun shells. To actually have one that you can truly skirmish and truly run and be unstoppable, be that juggernaut, this is that gun. So it meets all what it needed to do. It's sad that it took until 2023 to get it out, but with that magic BB feeding and all that stuff, how it does it, it just works. I've put over 1,000 rounds through this now, and oh my God, it's just been a tank the entire time. So yeah, this has been absolutely an amazing shotgun. And I would say to anyone who's been looking for one, do you want to go down this route or an M870? I'd go down this route. This is the right one for you. It's got all its sling swivels and loops. You can put whatever you want on there. You can upgrade it, do what you need. It runs off M870 inner barrels with M870 fixed hot bookings in there. So that's repairable. It's awesome. All the furniture is identical, and yes, you can actually remove the end cap. There's a little indent just in there, and you push that in and you can unscrew the end cap to the gas. If you need access to that, you can do. There is just so much that you can do to this shotgun that you couldn't do with your M870 without butchering it, let's say. And that's something that I just, you know, I love about this shotgun. It's absolutely amazing. It's just phenomenal. Good on you, TM. You've done it again, as I would say. You've nailed it, is the best way of calling it. So, with that being said, please let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Share it with your friends. If you want to see more brand new and older, whatever, any airsoft content, just do the YouTube stuff and keep this channel growing, because you guys are amazing. It's because of you guys that I'm able to do this stuff, and I really thank you for it. So, I've been the Middle Age Gamer. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.